Hey guys, welcome back to Utterly Unfiltered with
Tash
and Cara. Thanks for joining us again this week. We are going to be talking about, posing and answering the question, should we care what people think of us?
Yeah.
Which is going to be a juicy little topic to get into. I
is.
feel like my immediate answer to this was actually not my ultimate final answer to this. It's a bit more nuanced. But I think we should talk a little bit about, just because it kind of semi-relates, to the fact that it's Pride Month. Happy Pride Month!
Oh my god!
Exciting. And that's not me saying you should care what people think of you, by the way. That's like,
you
shouldn't care what people think of you. Like, just go crazy. Did you see they're doing, it's called the Trainbow, and the trains in London are, they painted them the rainbow flag?
No.
So cool. I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah,
the
show
Trainbow.
me.
And it's to raise awareness and obviously inclusivity on the trains. So that's their initiative this month. I don't know what they're doing other than that.
Is there a Norwich Pride?
There is a Norwich Pride. I wanted to go to it, but I am at a festival.
Oh.
But there is, I went to Norwich Pride last year. It was the first Pride I'd ever been to.
Really? How was it?
So much fun.
Was
They
it?
had face painting and glitter and live music, and the parade was cool.
Oh.
And then they had a party, like a outdoor, it was like a little drinks van and some food trucks. It was in Chapelfield Gardens. And
Yes.
they had music pumping and like DJ on a stage, basically. And people were just like partying. It was quite
Love
cool. Yeah, I loved it. It was
that.
so much fun.
That's fun. Do you feel like it's a good positive atmosphere?
Definitely. I didn't see any kind of anti-protesters.
No.
Like, it was all very inclusive. What I loved, actually, which surprised me, I didn't expect to see this, was, because I'd never been, in the parade, there were organisations that were supporting Pride that then could have a place in the parade.
Like
So it was
charities and things?
like Barclays Bank, Nando's, like things that were endorsing Pride.
Yeah.
That could then kind of go and be part of the parade, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Like, that people are getting involved. There also was a massive flag as soon as the parade sort of came around one of the corners, just opposite Cozy Club. So someone from their window had a massive flag and they rolled it down. As people like walked towards, but it was huge. And I was like, that's so cool. And I caught it on camera as well. I know. I was like, this is wicked. So no, I loved it. It was so much fun. Just really nice to be part of something as well, to be celebrating something. I feel like there's so many depressing things going on. So many rallies and parades, important ones, for causes at the moment, but they're quite sad and dark and scary and violent, of what people are protesting about at the moment, like in the States and the wars going on and stuff. So this was a nice, like, happy one.
Yeah.
And it felt like a celebration.
Yeah.
Instead of like it was awesome. Yeah, so happy Pride, guys. Hope
Happy
it's
Pride.
amazing. And I don't know. I work at a school, right? And they were doing a do they call it PGCE? It was like a life, where it's just like life stuff.
Like PSE.
PSHE,
we called it. I mean, they might have changed the name over the
but
years,
it's something like that. That's how we know it as, right? And they were doing Pride, and they were teaching kids all about the Pride and what the
That's
LGBT
really nice.
stands
I mean,
for.
that's really good.
It's so good.
Nice.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. That's what I heard about the Trainbow. So I was like, and I was sitting in the lesson, and I was learning things. And it made me think, actually, there's more I need to learn about this.
Do you think that's something that we should teach in schools?
Yes.
Like, not just acceptance, but also like sexuality?
Yes. I think to raise awareness, and to raise not even awareness, but to normalize it in the sense that it could be a natural, normal choice to make.
Yeah.
Because we were never taught about it in schools, and I feel
we're still of the generation where when we were at school, that was still. I wouldn't say it was an insult, but it was a tease.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like,
you're so
we're
gay.
still of that generation.
Yeah.
But for us, it was a joke, which obviously it's not a joke. But that's what
we're
it was. Kids, right? And we weren't taught anything differently.
Yeah.
As young teenagers, young teenagers. Not once we got to teenagehood, I feel like again we just had more realization of like the world around us, and more people had opinions on those things. But when we were like 12, 13, that kind of age, I feel like you're not taught like this actually could be an option for you.
Yes, and so that's it.
And so maybe rather than seeing it as a joke, maybe think about how you feel about yourself and about what you're interested in and how you feel in your body and that kind of thing, as opposed to it never would have even crossed my mind to consider that option.
Sure.
Because it was something that in school was considered a joke. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it wasn't ever, I don't think it goes back to, everything comes back to Glennon Doyle's Untamed, because we know I love this book, we know I love this book. But she's very much of the, like, you're never taught that you can be anything else. So
exactly.
you just are what you are told to be.
Yes.
Until you could start to think for yourself and see representation in other places. I understand people's hesitancy with teaching little children about certain things. So I don't personally feel the same, because I think that they should be able to envision a different way of living, or a different sense of normal, because I don't ever think there is a sense of normal. I do understand people's hesitation, because children are quite susceptible to being told, and maybe if you suggest that they might want to think about something and consider something for themselves, will it then lead them to do that, and they'll have regrets or whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. I do get that, if we're trying to be balanced. But I don't think, I think that the solution is not to shield them from it. It's to still talk about it and have that open discourse. But just, and allow them to find their way with it. And not put that kind of expectation either way, not to pressure them either way to make a choice, because that's the whole point. The point is that you shouldn't have to make a choice.
Yeah. Just be who you are.
Just be who you are.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a choice, it's just who you are.
Just it comes with you as
absolutely.
a human.
Well, that's actually an interesting point. I love the idea of, like when we were kids, obviously we watched like Disney programs, and it was always like prince and princess.
Yes.
And like that's what you are taught. So therefore you're taught to believe, as a girl, you're taught to believe you want a prince, because that's what you are seeing all the time.
Sure, that's
you're never seeing a princess falling in love with a princess. You're always just seeing a princess falling in love with a prince.
Yep.
So that is your whole idea of what love looks like and what life looks like. I love the idea of having Disney's characters and movies and kids' movies and stuff that have princesses falling in love with princesses and princes falling in love with princes. I think that's the best idea ever. Yeah. Why the heck not? Yeah. Like, it's just another love story in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perfect way, honestly, to introduce that concept to people younger. Yeah. Without that fear of, like, even fear is the wrong word, but without that kind of like, oh, are we actually pushing a narrative, or are we going to, there's this funny episode of Modern Family where Lily, who's the daughter of
adopted one,
the daughter of Mitch and Cam, she goes around telling people that she's gay. And she's a kid, she's like, like 8 years old or something, and her parents, Cam and Mitch, are like, why do you think you're gay? Like, where's this come from? And she's like, well, you and Daddy are gay, so therefore I'm gay, just like my friend's parents are Scottish, so therefore she's Scottish. Scottish wasn't the right one, but it's like an identity thing. Okay. And I feel like that's a perfect case of where, like, introducing these concepts younger is in like things like books and movies is a great idea, because
it's education.
It educates them as to what it means. Sure. As opposed to just being a label, oh, my parents are gay, oh, mine are Scottish. It's like, doesn't tell you anything.
Okay, sure.
About what that means. Sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And I think I love that. And I think also there is value. I saw, is it Tangled? What's the one? There's one about a princess, but like there's no love story. Now, I am a hopeless romantic, so we know this about me.
Is it Brave or Tangled?
Maybe it's, I don't know, one of the two. Where it's just that she's just a badass princess, and there's no prince. She's just hardcore.
I think Tangled still has a prince.
So, okay.
I'm pretty sure there's
I'm not anti-love. Like, so I love the love narrative.
I think it might be Brave. Yeah. Is it like, has she got like curly ginger hair and she's Scottish or something? Yeah,
she's got a little animal that runs
definitely Brave. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But I like that, like, I love the subtext of the love story, because again, romantic, but I like that the main plot line is actually you just being badass. Yeah. And you being fulfilled in other ways, not just with romance. Because that's one massive part of your life, who you choose to share it with, I know. But what you're sharing with them also matters. So like you being an individual and sharing that with someone also matters. And I kind of like that. I know that I think though that we are the generation that feels that way. I look to like older relatives and friends, and they're the ones that have the fear response of like, oh, what are we teaching our kids? Yeah. And is it going to influence them?
But we were previously teaching them that a princess must fall in love with a prince.
Yes, right.
So we were teaching them that anyway. Right. So
true.
What's the difference in what we're teaching?
People are threatened by it, because they think, well, then if all children decide that they like the same gender, like, are we going to have like population crises? Because men and women aren't going to be together. Are we going to have like, it threatens the norm? Anything that threatens the norm or the tradition is something that people are afraid of.
But then I guess that feeds back into the narrative that it's a choice and not something that's innate, because I am innately straight, so therefore I would never stop that process from happening. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how many Disney movies I watched about princesses falling in love with princesses. I feel like I know my sexuality and I know what I'm attracted to.
So this is a fun nature-nurture psychology debate.
Yeah.
We both study psychology, so that's fun. Do you believe, and again, like I know we're talking at it from a relatively, like we're not representative really of that community in ways, but do you believe it is innate, or do you believe is it nature-nurture? Like, are you born attracted to a specific gender, or / born feeling like you don't associate with your identity, or are you taught it? Is there an environmental like aspects at play?
I feel like I am not best placed to answer this question.
I know.
What do you think?
Ooh.
You have an opinion towards the boom.
Yeah. It is all the boom. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like, it's hard. I feel like the only way to truly know that is to have a generation where we haven't filtered them, where we haven't taught them that there's only one traditional way to go about living. Because that's masked a lot of people's gender identities. You do need a control group. Yeah, if we're being really, psychological about it.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think you can change how you feel, nor should you change how you feel, attraction-wise, or who you are. But then I don't want that to ever give people a sense that they don't have a choice in it. I think you can choose to experiment, and then that could maybe develop and enhance. I remember watching, did you ever watch it? It was amazing Netflix documentary. A lot of controversy around it. What was it? It's called Baby Reindeer.
I never saw that.
So it's about, the guy who produces and stars in it, all of these things actually happen to him. So, but he's acting it out, right?
Wow.
And a lot of trauma stuff as well, which I'm a bit like, how you do that? That's amazing.
Oh my God.
I think it's Little Reindeer, Baby Reindeer. Anyway.
No, I recognize the name Baby Reindeer.
Yeah, so it's about a stalker, actually. And then, but basically he goes through these traumatic episodes where this girl is stalking him. And then he gets addicted to drugs and gets repeatedly sexually assaulted by a man. And then had always identified or thought he was straight, but then has these sexual assaults happen and then becomes really fixated by men and starts to watch a lot of gay porn and stuff. So for him, he was like, I don't feel like I was born gay. I feel like this happened to
trauma
me.
Response.
And then I became, or even, it was a trauma response. Other people who experiment without that happening probably then just realize that they can develop these feelings or they can see things differently now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I'm not in a great position. I've had like girl crushes. I've had a couple of experiences low level with women, but I don't know how I would identify at this moment in time.
Yeah. But does that feeling feel innate, or does it feel like something you grew into?
I feel, but this is where I'm saying you would need a group that had never been taught
anything.
I feel like it's something I've grown into, but I can't accurately say that, because if I was born and raised to think that there could be two ways of being with someone, or more than two, multiple,
I feel like your upbringing probably was that your only option.
Very, very traditional.
Was traditional, yeah.
Very, very traditional.
So therefore, that it can't have been environment that changed your opinion, could it? But
now my environment is different and it is more open. Like I'm now.
Is it more open, or have you created a more open environment because because you're interested?
I don't know. I think I'm surrounding myself with more people that are open-minded. Like I've got more friends, quite a few friends now that would identify as...
You were seeking that out?
Well, I don't even know if I was seeking it out. This is where it gets really nuanced.
It's hard to work out.
Like some of my, like a friend that I was a flatmate with at uni, and she had had a boyfriend the whole time, and now she's married to a woman.
Yeah.
I have a bandmate, and he's got a girlfriend who is like, we're really, really close friends, and she is like really quite open.
Yeah.
So I don't even know that I chose these people in my life. But this has all happened.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit, yeah, okay.
There are other options.
I don't know. It's just an interesting one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Is the answer. There's more representation, I think, for kids like this, like you say, with the representation on TV is important. Yeah. Because that's when they can start to realize, I think. So yeah, I don't know. Is it nature, is it nurture? Is it both? Who knows? Who knows? We would love to be educated. Please educate us.
Yeah, I wonder if actually, I mean, I'm sure, oh my God, it's chucking it down.
I know.
I'm sure there are some papers on this. I feel like we should turn our psychologist brains on.
Yeah,
it's interesting for sure. I feel like it's something I could definitely educate myself more on as well, because like I think that, and I guess that Pride Month is the perfect time to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think that, I don't know, I just don't feel like I ever judge anyone based on anything really. I don't even why it had nothing to do with me, so it doesn't feel important to me, I guess. But I feel like maybe that's not enough. Like, I feel like I could probably do more to be more of an ally.
I think there are more than one ways to show support for someone. There's specific issues and things going on in the world that maybe I haven't been as vocal about because I've wanted to educate myself more before I go and post online about all these things that I think I should do. And I've had people criticize me for not posting enough or for not raising enough awareness. I don't think you should be expected or guilted for supporting in one specific way. I think there's more that you can do. I've donated to charities. I've been to a rally. I've done a gig in aid of specific things. Like, I've done my part in other ways. Just because I'm not doing it in that specific way that someone else might want to do it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's like that whole debate of like being more ethically friendly. Like, I think there's more than one way. You could be a vegan, or you could be someone who recycles a lot, or you could be someone who uses a lot of renewable energy sources. I don't think you have to be everything or one. I don't think you should. It gives me the rage because people just should, if you are doing something to help something, you should be commended, not guilted for it. And for not doing more. Like, if you're trying
and
to...
also, as long as it feels like enough for you, I think that's it's not even about being commended. It's just about, like, living with yourself, like personal responsibility. Like, I think that's like the core aspect of any of this for me. Is like, it's your personal responsibility to do as much or as little as feels correct to you.
Absolutely.
And no one can tell you that you need to do more or less based on what feels right to them, because that feels right to them, not to you. You don't have to post or talk about or bring up in conversation or debate with somebody about something you don't want to debate with somebody about unless you want to. For example, veganism, right? I've been vegan for years. I mean, I'm not vegan anymore, but like, I was vegan for years. People would love to have a debate with me about veganism.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to say.
Oh my god, the amount of people who've tried to start debates with me over the years, they get nothing from me.
Likewise,
zero,
actually.
zilch, nada. Okay, I could not care two pebbles as to whether or not I can convince you that my beliefs or ideals are correct. I don't care. They are correct for me. I believe in this.
And it's not your job to convince people. Like, you put a lot on yourself if you think, okay, cool, I'm going to change someone's... I'm not saying don't engage. I do engage in meaningful debates with, like, parents. Where I'm trying to educate them to my perspectives. And vice versa, they're doing the same. I don't think that you should, But then again,
if you feel like choice. That conversation is something that you want to have.
Sure.
Like, I have
Don't
had
bring shit to my door.
Conversations with people, like, about values and interests and, that kind of thing. In relationships, I feel like is a really important thing to have, is to, like, make sure that your partner understands your point of view on certain things and vice versa. But I don't think you have to have that conversation unless you want to. Like, you don't deserve anybody an explanation unless if they want one, unless you want to give them one. So when it comes to, we're looping all the way back to doing more. Sorry, my phone's buzzing.
That's just popular.
Doing more, like, in terms of, like, allyship and stuff. That's because I actually think I probably do want to do a little bit more.
Sure. It's not because someone's told you
someone's
going
to tell me. No one can tell me that I need to do more, because I will just not. That's not who I am.
No, for sure.
And it's like, even as we're recording this episode, I'm, like, laughing to myself a little bit, because I'm like, I can just imagine in 5 years' time, like, somebody clipping bits from this episode and trying to cancel us for it. Okay, I can see it, and I'm gonna be like, good luck, mate, because I just don't believe in that. Like,
I like that you back us enough to think that someone's going to go and, like, deep dive 5 years worth of
the
episodes.
things you see on the internet are crazy. But it's like, but this is my experience, and I am allowed to share that in whatever format I want, just like you're allowed to experience yours. And I am going to do exactly what I want to do in terms of anything, and that's up to me. Like,
so, should you, and do you care what people think of you?
Great question. Okay, so I used to think no. I used to think absolutely not.
Like,
I don't care at all. I mean, I've preached this on the podcast a gazillion times, but I did make some notes actually.
Oh,
so
look at you.
Let me just grab my little notebook. Okay, here. So basically, do you what people think of you matter?
Okay. Sorry. I did not phrase it correctly.
No. You phrased it perfectly.
Thanks.
But what I wrote, I guess. Well, I mean, actually, I didn't write anything about it.
Okay, that was the biggest disappointment.
Where did I?
That's the biggest disappointment ever. Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to go off script again, Tash.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so I actually did prepare for this.
Yeah,
episode,
go on then, share.
As you will know when I sent you my voice note thoughts about it.
You did.
So I think it's very, 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 very nuanced, which doesn't really help. But going back to Glennon Doyle, Untamed, the phrase that I quoted it a few times on these podcasts, and I think I want to just absolutely just get this tattooed all over me because I love it. It's like, you should disappoint everyone else before you disappoint yourself. So ultimately, what you think of yourself should be more important than what other people think of you.
Yeah.
But what other people think of you, I think it's a personal question. For me, it does matter to an extent. There are the realities of life in the sense of, because I'm someone who's motivated by people pleasing, I don't love it about myself, and I think I've been too much in that direction, and it has stopped me from doing certain things I want to do. But it has made me successful in other areas. I have always, even if I haven't done like an amazing, okay, I'm not the like brightest star in the sky, I'm not the best at my job, but I'm sort of, I can get along with people, and I think generally people get on well with me, and they have a positive perception of me. And that does matter to me, and I do think I do well in things because of it, because I can network and I can build relationships with people.
Yeah.
So in that perspective, it does matter just as much as like I want my friends to know that I am open to talking about things with them, that I'm a safe place, that I won't judge them, that I want people to know these things about me.
Yeah.
But there's a difference. For me, the key difference is like there's a difference for me between what people think of me and what people know that I can be to them or do for them. So this is also not making sense, even though I did prepare. What I'm trying to say, right, is Tash is laughing at me because you're just humoring me. You're like, and you're like, I don't fucking know what you're talking about. Okay, right. This one. Shut up. Okay, there's what people think of me, but there's what I know to be true for the people in my life.
Yes.
So if someone thinks of me, okay, Kara's a little, like, she's snappy today, she's a shitty, moody person, like, what's her problem? I know that's not true to my identity. I know what I'm going through. I know I'm trying to treat you with respect. I think it's different. It's different when it's like, what you think of me doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But how I treat you does matter.
Yeah.
So if I get a tattoo, say, and I get judged for it by certain relatives, that doesn't matter. Because they know I love them, and I'm going to still go and call them, and I'm still going to speak, it's
what's
my
actually
actions.
important. Yeah. I'm going to sneeze, sorry.
Okay,
I'm trying really hard.
I thought you were just like, oh.
No, I agree with you.
What's
actually important is not what you put on your body, it's, who you are as a person. Sorry. I'm going to sneeze.
Do it. It's so satisfying.
Because I can't. It's
so
like
satisfying.
Stuck in my brain. No, I agree. I think there are two sides to this coin, right? There's like I said before I went off a complete tangent, I used to be someone who thought, absolutely, I don't care what people think of me, I do whatever I want, but what I've realized, especially from this job actually, is I do care what people think of me when I know that I am not doing what I want to be doing, I guess. In terms of like, I know I'm not being my best self, and I know that they can see that, and then that makes me annoyed. Like, I don't like that. I care about that.
So question is, though, you care about it, but the question is, does it matter? And should you care about it?
Well, I think for me, it's like, it showed me gaps. So the fact that I cared about that made me realize again, like, the reason I care about this is because I don't feel like I'm actually being my true self. Why don't I feel like I'm being my true self? Because the opportunity isn't there.
Yeah, okay.
The opportunity isn't there. That's not a good thing. Then I need to do something about that. Or I need to go and find a different opportunity instead.
So it causes you to reevaluate.
Yeah.
Someone else's opinion. It's
so
like
I
an external
that feeling
opinion. Okay.
of like, a feeling that kind of like judging myself almost.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, like, what's this? Like, let's dig into where this came from. And from that was a realization of like, oh, actually, I'm like out of alignment. Like, I need to get back to where I was before. And when I'm in alignment, I don't care about what other people have to say. Like,
interesting. So when you are confident in your choices,
Yeah.
you're not as... I'm the same, though. I'm absolutely the same. It's like, if I know to my core that what I'm doing is right for me, I'm far less likely to take on other people's opinions, even if, I mean, oftentimes people will offer their opinions unasked for. But if I know, like drums, for example, okay, I've just started drum lessons. My parents love them to pieces. I did drum lessons in South Africa, and they tolerated the noise. So thank you so much, massive respect. But at the moment, they're like, why would you do that? Why are you doing that? I've had a lot of people who are like, but that's not going to help you with your music. Like, focus on this. You should be focusing on guitar. That's what you want to do. I've had so many opinions, but I know I want to do it. So I really just don't.
You're just gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's like, if people, as long as people know me, and this is where it's like, maybe who, it's not like, you know, if it matters what people care, it's like the people that care. So it's like, if my family and friends are cool with me and I'm cool with me, that's fine. If strangers on the internet think I'm stupid for posting a cringe song, that shouldn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm in a little bit of like, I do care about random strangers on the internet, but I shouldn't. And I know that doesn't matter. Because they're not my people. They're not the people I'm going to see life with, you know? So maybe it's like who it is.
What do you think about like critical feedback? In terms of like, does what people think of you matter when they're giving, I guess, feedback to you?
Depends. If it's not like affecting my well-being or safety, then I would rather ask for someone's opinion. I don't love unwarranted opinions that I've not asked for. Unless if it's an intervention, right? If, say, I'm really struggling with something and someone can see and they're like, look, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, probably at the time, like, oh, fuck off. But then I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, thanks. Yeah. Thanks. But if it's like something that, like drum lessons or getting a tattoo, if it's something that's not going to affect me or you, and I've not asked for your critical feedback, don't give it to me. Classic one is like after a gig. Because I'm going to go and critically analyze my performance. If someone else then comes to me, I've had it, it's annoying when it's, again, more so with strangers, where they'll come up and they'll be like, oh, you know, someone once said about like, oh, like that was great, like beautiful voice, love the lyrics, and by the way, I have a guitar teacher that I know that, like, if you want lessons, because you're great, but you could be better, like, you know, I didn't ask you. Don't give me your analysis. Like, yeah, okay, it is critical and it's going to help me develop if I go and do this, but it has to be on my terms. So I don't know, I'm a little bit, I think I've always valued it in work. Yeah. Like, I thrive off of, even if it's constructive criticism, because we all have our blind spots and we can't be objective towards ourselves. We're always going to be subjective. So, yes, I do value it, but that's when I'm seeking it and when it's actually going to benefit me. Yeah. Not when it's unwarranted judgment and criticism. Maybe that's the difference.
What about when it's impacting somebody else? So like someone's giving you critical feedback, like on perhaps like the language that you use, like it's impacting them in some way.
Yes.
Does it matter? Like, and is it something that you do you feel like it's something that you should address?
I think it's something I should listen to, because again, it comes back to the blind spots. If someone else can see that I'm maybe not going about something in the right way, or that's true to how I would want to be acting or behaving, or that it's affecting someone, or that it's like, lack of education around LGBTQ, and I'm posting silly things on the internet and they're not actually like hitting the mark. Like, if people are noticing that, I do want to be called up on it. I would rather be, and I would value the honesty in that. But I guess, again, that's not so much what they think of me. That's just like, they know I can be better and that I would want to be better if I could objectively see myself, maybe. It's not as a form of, it's where it comes from, right? It's not as a form of judgment and tearing you down. It's a form of helping you to be better. What about you?
I think that makes sense. I think I can see, like I said, I can see both sides, and I think I don't know, I feel like there have not been very many times in my life where I have received like critical feedback on like how I've treated somebody, for example.
Okay.
But when I have, it's usually been stuff I don't agree with.
Okay. Yeah.
Or it's been stuff I do agree with, but I've then made like actions to correct it. Okay. I guess, like, you know, like I definitely have not always been a perfect person.
Well,
I've definitely done things that I regret. but I feel like I learned from all those experiences and I corrected myself on them. I don't need somebody else to tell me that. And it was never somebody else's feedback. So for example, I can remember, throwback, guys. This is, I was young, okay? You know, let me be.
It's a confession time on the pod.
Confession time. I'm spilling a little bit of tea now.
Oh my gollies, we love tea. Hold on, let me get my tea.
Yes, get your tea. So I remember when I was like in uni, I must have been like 19 or 20, and I was on a night out with some of my housemates and some people I used to work with. And at the time, I was in a relationship.
I think I know this, don't I?
Do you? I can't remember. I was in a relationship that was not going very well, let's just say. And but he wasn't there. And one of the guys who I lived with was not happy with me because he felt like I was flirting with one of the people I work with. And I wasn't. I was not flirting with him. I was flirting with him in the sense of like, you know, I wanted the attention and a free drink. But I wasn't flirting with him in the sense of like, I was actually ever going to do anything bad. Because that's nothing I've ever done. And never would. That's just not, I don't think I could forgive myself. So that's just not part of my personality. But I definitely was flirting in terms of like, trying to get something out of it that was not sexual, was purely attention and a free drink.
Yeah, did you get the free drink? Sorry,
yeah,
spoiler.
Loads of free drinks. Yeah, and one of my housemates, he was so unimpressed with this. Like, he was so unimpressed.
Okay.
And he was like making like snide comments at me all night about it, and just like clearly judging me for it. Right, clearly did not think good of me.
Okay.
For doing that.
Sure.
And I was so angry at him.
Because
I was like, I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
I know my intentions. I know my intentions are fine. Just because on the outside you're looking at this and you think this is inappropriate doesn't mean it is inappropriate.
Yeah.
I know that there would be no issue with this situation. I even know that if my boyfriend was stood in the room right now, he'd be fine with it. Because he'd be like, go get that fucking free drink. Like, whatever. Nice. Like, I know. And also that was probably the nature of that relationship as well, because we were just really young, and I don't really think we had that many boundaries around things like that, to be honest. Probably wouldn't flirt with someone for a free drink now, but I can buy my own now. So I don't need the free drink, you know? Like, my boyfriend can buy me one for me, you know? Like, I don't have to flirt with a stranger for it.
Because you don't have to work for it. You're just like, I didn't get me a drink.
Exactly. Whereas, like, I was a teenager, I was at uni, I didn't have money. Like, I wanted my drink, you know? So I feel like that really pissed me off, because I was like, you're questioning my nature and my judgment, and you're judging me, and I can understand why you think this is inappropriate or you want to give me that feedback, but I'm not going to take it because you don't know what I know. Do you know what I mean?
That's the key thing for me, though. It's like, if people are questioning or judging me at my core and my morals, I take personal offense to it, especially if they know me. Yeah. So I'm like, you know me. I'm going to mess up. Again, we're not perfect. But you know that my intentions are good, or you know that actually, there's such an amazing interview I've seen with an actress, and she breaks down over this. She's like, she starts crying, and she's like, before people judge you and tear you down for something, if you've done something that's not in your natural sort of like personality, if you've done something that you wouldn't normally do or that people don't associate with you, take on a more empathetic approach, because you're probably not in a great place, or there's probably something wrong with you. There's probably actually instead of jumping down someone's throat and being like, where is our human empathy? If someone's acting out of character, then it means they are acting out of character. Yes, and there's something not right with them, and maybe instead of pulling them apart for it, you could be like, I'm not saying that this was related to yours at all. No. Because fuck it, get the free drink. That's what I loved about Vegas, by the way. I didn't pay for a single thing. Oh my god, it was amazing. But I take personal offense when people judge me for who I am, and they know that they know me. Yeah. Like, if you're judging my actions, but you know who I am at my core,
then you clearly just don't know me.
You don't know me. Or that you think, if you think that little of me, that you think I'm doing something to actively hurt someone. Yeah, you don't know me, and therefore actually your opinion doesn't matter. Yeah. But I do think there's responsibility in the sense of like I've always valued friendships where they can tell me, like, people can tell me straight. Again, though, I've always come and asked the friend. Like we had it last, like I'll ask you for your opinion and your directness because I need it as a compass. But that's very different than you pulling me aside and saying, like, oh, I've just noticed these things. And I don't think you should be doing this. Like, why are you doing this? Like, it's very different.
Anybody responds well to that.
No.
Like, I don't know anybody who does, honestly. I feel like we're all going to be naturally defensive because people are questioning our character. It's like defensiveness is one of the most natural mechanisms out there. Yeah. So it's like, I get that, like, completely. And I think if you actually need to have a real conversation with someone, you have to do it in an environment where you're like, look, you're not going to like what I have to hear. And we just need to talk about this openly. I need you to know that I'm not judging you. And I'm not trying to force my opinions on you. I just want you to hear me. And if you can tell me to fuck off if you want to tell me to fuck off, but I need to say it because it's eating me alive.
Sure.
And then say it.
Sure.
In like a safe environment.
Okay.
As opposed to like...
It's the approach,
because I do think that there are times where people just feel like they have to get something off their chest. And like, that's okay. But making snide comments or, or giving unsolicited advice without even asking, look, I have some unsolicited advice. How would you feel if I share it with you? But just giving it. Like, that's not okay.
That's true.
Like...
My biggest thing at the moment is like, and I've had it with when I've come to people for advice, and like the biggest thing is when they say like, yeah, but I told you this. Yeah. Like I told you, I could have told you this years ago. Yeah. And you're like, it's not about you. Yeah. And you being right.
I wasn't ready to hear it.
Me. Yeah. And yes, you told me something years ago, but it's completely different to me asking for you for the advice now. The way that you've kind of proposed that you maybe approach someone, like if you have to initiate the conversation, like it's a friend of yours or a relative, and they're maybe acting out of character, or they've done something that maybe has upset you or directly impacted you or someone else, and you want to chat to them about it. Like I like how you've approached it, really respectful and empathetic from the get-go. But I also think if you're going to initiate that conversation, it cannot be about you. Like, if I'm concerned about you, it has to be like, is there anything I can do to help? Or what do you want to talk about? Like, is there something that you need to say or that you need support with? Yeah. As opposed to, Tash, I did tell you this, like, last year. It was going to be, Tash, like, I've had the same kind of dilemma. Like, there's something to be said for empathizing and being like, yeah, this shitty thing happened to me. Yeah. But it's not like, it can't be the focus. Like, if the focus that I'm initiating, that I'm bringing to you is about you, it has to be about you. Yeah. Not about my pride or ego or I want to come and fix things because I'm a fixer. Like, the intent matters. The only other point I wanted to make on this, actually more a question. If we didn't care at all what people, imagine a world that we just didn't give a shit what anyone thought ever. Mm-hmm. Would it become carnage? Would you do things, if you could do something, this is like going back to the darkest parts of yourself. Yeah. If you could do something and no one cared, or it didn't matter to you what people cared, would you, would you do bad, naughty things?
Good question.
Not you specifically, but in general, society.
You know what I wonder? Because I think there are elements of society that we've created that perhaps are quite limiting. Mm-hmm. And if we could do whatever we want and what other people thought didn't matter, there probably would be a lot more... there would probably be a lot more infidelity. Mm-hmm. There would probably be a lot more reckless behaviours, like spending, alcoholism... Drink driving.
See that one, yeah.
So I think that there are elements of like, there is a lot to be said for societal pressure. There's a reason why we've created it. And it does, I guess, hold society together. We would probably be less of a community and more a lot of individuals.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? And I think like it's a good thing sometimes. I do believe in boundaries. I do believe in I believe in certain boxes that society have created, because I do think that without them we'd feel lost. Yeah. And I think that we need to learn things like commitment. We need to learn things like self-restraint. We need to learn things like not dopamine addiction or whatever.
Well, we need laws and rules. Yeah. Like, otherwise it just would be a shit show. I mean, we've studied this in psychology, conformity, right? And feeling anonymous in groups. Actually, not conformity, but feeling anonymous in groups, and therefore doing things that you wouldn't ever expect someone to do if they're anonymous. Yeah. Like there was that study on like administering electric shocks to people, and when there was like a screen in between, people were administering higher and potentially deadly shocks to other people. Yeah. Whereas when they
couldn't see the impact of their actions.
Right. Yeah. And because they know that they're anonymous to that person. Like, I'll never be held accountable. Like, they don't know me. Or even in a crowd. Like, encouraging people to do really devastating things when you're in a crowd, or victimizing someone when you're in a group. That person as an individual would never do that. But because they feel anonymous, like they can't be judged or seen, I do think that there would be darker parts of our humanity that would come out if we didn't care. Or if we didn't feel like we would be seen to be doing things.
And I think accountability does matter. I do think that I've definitely spoken to like people about this before, where it's like there are elements of just because that's who you are doesn't mean that you need to force that upon other people. In terms of like, you know, I can't remember, there was a really good example from it was like, what?
I was gonna make you
sing.
Yeah.
It was just an example of I'm trying to think how to make this anonymous, but basically like
how to filter the
just literally just somebody who is like very free with their opinion and will put it on anyone even if they've not asked for it, and is quite intense with it, I guess, and won't really let it go. And you know, they've said before, like, but that's just who I am. Like, you know, I'm like a dog with a bone. Like, once I have something to say, I like have to say it. And I said, you know, but you do have to think, like, you are driving people away by doing this. You are stopping people from opening up by doing this. Like, people feel less safe to tell you things because they know you're going to have something to say about it, and you're going to say it again and again and again very loudly in their face. So therefore, I do think there has to be some kind of accountability too. Like, if somebody doesn't feel safe around you because you can't shut the fuck up,
that should matter to you.
That should matter to you. Yeah, because isn't the whole point of sharing that to be close with that person? Yeah. But instead you're creating the opposite outcome. What's more important, saying it, someone hearing your voice, or someone understanding you and you understanding them and having a real conversation? So I do think that there is like a level of account, and perhaps like that's something we were so like in the roots of, doesn't matter what anyone thinks about during the episode, but like, you know, actually
in ways
it does matter, because it matters, I guess, if they matter to you, then what they think should matter too. You know?
I think what they think should matter, but it should only matter if it's related to them. Like, it shouldn't matter to you if I get a tattoo, or going back to LGBT, if I was then dating a woman. It should matter to you if I'm a shitty friend and I share your secrets, or I disregard your feelings. Then it should matter. And it mattered to me that it matters to you. So maybe it's nuanced.
I definitely think
we didn't answer the question, but we had some interesting talks about it. So,
but it's unknown, isn't it? I guess the question is that, you know, what do you think? Like, you know, do you think that what and by you I mean you, listener, you dear listener,
not you,
not you, but you dear listener. You know, do you think what other people think matters? And in what capacity? Like, how much does it matter? I'd love to know your opinion, because I do think like we can only speak from our points of view in our life. And I think because I've always been fairly unfiltered, I feel like I've always had that kind of feeling. And I think that you have that now because you've gone from cautious teenager and early adulthood to kind of more reckless adult. So now you're like, nothing matters. But actually, it's not how you used to be.
Sure. So, no, I know. I'm a people pleaser. Still to this day, what people think of me matters so much to me. To the point where I get anxiety over it. Some of it's necessary, and that's where but some of it's not. Like the social media stuff, where I think that people watching my stories or people judging me for what I'm wearing on stage, like that still matters to me, but I know logically it shouldn't.
Whereas I feel like that, what people think of what I'm wearing does not matter to me.
So it's
nuanced. People think of what I post on social media does not matter to me. But what people think of my actions when they already know me, I'm like, that matters a little bit. You know, like, why are you like that?
Except if you can get a free drink out of it, in which case, fuck off.
Exactly.
And I'll get you a free drink too. Let us know.
Thank you for listening to this very convoluted episode. But we love you guys so much. And
thanks.
Thanks. Peace.
Well, you just said something really deep. We love you guys so much. We don't know you guys. I love that you are supportive of the pod.
Exactly. Of course we love them. They listen to the podcast. What are you about? I love them.
Okay, Tash loves you.
Yeah.
I have strong feelings of gratitude towards you. No, I love you too. Of course I love you. I just like to play hard to get.
Yeah,
We know that's not true. I'm actually a really needy dog. Needy dog. It's a thing. Like, needy dog. Needy dog.
We need to end this
it's
episode. This is terrible. All right. Wait, summarize quickly.
I don't even know how to summarize that episode. So,
In summary,
guys, like, it's a very complicated question. There's so many different perspectives you could take on it. For me personally, like, I think what you think of yourself, if you can live with yourself at the end of the day, that should be the most important thing, but it doesn't absolve you of how you treat people. I think if you're treating people well and you're well-intentioned, you're gonna fuck up, we all do, but I think, inevitably that should be the most important thing. And happy Pride. Pride. Like, let us know what you're up to for Pride. How are you celebrating? Maybe you could educate us too. We need to be educated. That was, basically that's the episode. Which you probably were like, what? Was that really the episode? Because the episode was in way different directions. But at the heart of it, that was the intended episode.
it was, yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please come back next week. We'll try and make it a little more structured.
We'll try. We can't promise anything.
We can't promise anything.
This is Utterly Unfiltered after all.
Well, after all, Tash didn't actually prepare her notes this time.
No. God damn it. All right. We love you so much. Speak to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.